China. I love China. Welcome back, boys and girls. Pasta Jardula here. Fiorella, you're muted.
And I'm Fiorella. Hello.
Wow. Thank you for showing some excitement for being here with me, fam.
Fam, I'm busy
Shit.
carrying
I forgot to
links.
share the Rumble again.
Yeah.
I am such a dopey guy. You can't access the private chat, so I will send it to you right now on your Twitter DM.
I already did it. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's done. It's done.
Okay, guys, do us a favor. Hit the like button. Hit the share button. Where is everybody out there today? We don't even know where you're at, where you're hanging out, what's going on. There are not a lot of people on, so what is the dealio? Get your butts over here and come hang out with us because we're where it's at, and we're going to talk about some good stuff today. We have a Rumble, a Rockfin, a YouTube's. Do we still have a YouTube's, fam? Have they completely suspended us or whatever, or gotten rid of us yet, or no? We're still there?
No, we're here. We're here. It's just, shadow banning, suppression, all that good stuff. Excuse me. Yeah. It's been a day. It's been a day. If you haven't gotten around, guys, please do check out the interview with Chief Mandela, as he is known, Nelson Mandela's grandson. It's really good. He says a lot of really, really fire important things that need to be heard. And it's a 30-minute interview, very short. And he talks about Pakistan as well. And the things he said about Pakistan are really important because that's one of the things we're going to start off talking about is Pakistan. There's obviously, this has been a while coming, right? And we've been talking about Pakistan for a while. Pasta loves Imran Khan. And Imran Khan has been a very popular leader in Pakistan. There's no denying how popular the guy is. I mean, he's definitely loved by the people of Pakistan. And he's had a way of being sort of like a Lula-esque type of figure in the sense of being very diplomatic and saying certain things, and trying to, for example, when it came to Russia, he refused to sanction Russia, but then also said, well, Russia, did it, they did invade and blah, blah, blah. So he'll kind of skirt around the issue and sort of be extremely diplomatic, but he refused to follow along with the condemnation of Russia of sorts that the West was asking. And of course, we know he was removed from power. And a lot of people in Pakistan and outside of Pakistan, many people, including in my conversation with Mandela, claim that the United States is heavily involved in that, that they were involved in his removal. Imran Khan himself, has come out in public and said as much, that he was completely removed with the aid and the benefit, the approval of the West. And so it's a big deal what's happening now. He has been arrested, and a lot of people are saying this is a continuation of removing him from power. This is a U.S.-backed coup with a U.S.-friendly Western government, and that's what is being said. We're going to go over some stuff, but Pasta, go ahead if you want to see whatever you want to say.
I'd like to point out a few things that there's always been, it was kind of funny. We used to talk to our friend Raji Rab, who ran for Congress in California. He ran against Brad Sherman for his particular seat. He's, from the border of Pakistan and India. And he said the amazing thing is that when you go to these two countries, and if you know anything about their politics and their government, in India, the prime minister controls the military. In Pakistan, the military controls the prime minister. And that's what this is about. This is a guy who's kind of come kind of out of that light. He's not the historic, what I should say is family that's always either held positions or power in Pakistan. So he's been a lot of military coups. So he is unusual. He is a cricket player, led Pakistan to a world championship once before, back in the days. And he's beloved by the people. He's not the normal type of politician. He's a populist. Now, he did kind of accuse the West of getting involved for quite some time. At one point, he came off that position because he wanted to just concentrate on elections moving forward. They shot him. They tried to kill him. He was injured, and he came back like Willis Reed. I think when we played the video, I played a video for you of Willis Reed, fam, in think it was 1977 when he came with a torn Achilles tendon, come limping into the stadium, and he was there like they couldn't believe it. He was supposed to be out, and that I try to compare that moment to when Imran Khan came back with the limp and the cane, fam, and the people were just out in the streets and they're ready to go for this guy. So this guy spells hope. He spells, a future. He is very much beloved, a populist candidate. Like you said, on the day of the military invasion for Russia, he happened to be in Russia. So that was when the West said, okay, enough is enough. We're not going to play games anymore. He tried to take a very passive position about it. Like, I don't want to be, we can be friends with whoever we want. He told the West that you're not going to tell us who we can and cannot talk to. And at the same time, we're all for peace. So, I mean, the elections are supposed to be coming up, I believe, at the end of this year. They don't want this guy to run. You almost see a similar situation, fam, to what we saw in Argentina, where these West entities using the governments to try to keep these politicians out. They did it to Lula, and that's how Bolsonaro came into power. And this is more of the same. And I think that's when we see Keith McHenry's tweet over here that he put up, and it just says the U.S. coups are getting old. Pakistan's former Prime Minister Imran Khan arrested by paramilitary forces outside Islamabad's court. Fam, I went to a Cinco de Mayo party with a friend of mine that I used to work with, and there was a lady from Iran there. She was a Persian lady. But one of her good friends played like cricket with Imran Khan, and she's like, I'm going to hook you up. I'm going to see if I can get you an interview with Imran Khan. I was like, wow, this is amazing if you could do that. The very next day, 2 days later, on Sunday, she tweets me, she texts me, well, that's not going to happen. I'm like, why? She goes, they just arrested Imran Khan in Pakistan. I said, no way. And you can see pictures here of this going on, and this is more of the same. This is what they always do. You can see him right there in the middle, getting dragged away by a bunch of people. I don't know why they pulled this move, fam. I think they're getting a little bit too cocky, if you ask me, and this is going to backfire on them, just like it did when they tried to kill him.
Yeah, I think they were really dumb because I think they've underestimated the amount of support Imran Khan has. I mean, I don't know how they could do that because every time we see Imran Khan speak or Imran Khan do something, there are hundreds of thousands of people in the streets. I mean, the guy is, seen as a hero by the people of Pakistan. So this has a huge amount of implications, what just happened. So let's listen to a little bit of what is happening because a lot of stuff has developed, of course, in the last few hours. So far, what we know, and there may be a few more updates that I haven't looked at, but so far what we know is that he was arrested, right? Imran Khan, the former prime minister of Pakistan, and he was taken into holding, as you saw in the video, in Islamabad. And people, of course, have been reporting, everybody from geopolitical analysts to journalists to people in Pakistan to just activists around the world have been saying that this is a U.S.-backed move, that this is a coup with the instruction of the United States. Now, the reason people say that is because of the U.S.'s previous actions throughout history, because Imran Khan himself said that the U.S. had been involved in his removal from office in the beginning. And there are a few things that happened in recent times. Now, Imran Khan was, of course, demanding new elections, and he obviously has the most popularity to the point where if he were to run, we know he would win without even holding an election. So the majority of the population who supported him then turned out in mass protest. They went to military bases and government buildings and started burning them and started occupying them. And reportedly, many of the army have fled the country. And we also know that the current prime minister, Sharif, also left for London. Now, why is the current prime minister leaving for London? It seems like London is a place of escape for those that are working at the behest of the State Department. Fleeing for London is not a good look when this is happening. You face the situation, he's probably afraid of getting killed or getting, imprisoned himself. with all the unrest that's happening. Now, internet and mass communications were shut off because the authorities, meaning the government in charge, the people in charge, have been saying that they're prepping for more and more unrest. And Pakistan has been on its way to de-dollarization, Imran Khan or not. The whole point was during this whole conflict that started, Pakistan has been opening the doors to talking with India. Pakistan has also been opening the doors to de-dollarization, to buying Russian oil. Russia has sold to Pakistan as well. This is something that is, I have to point out, because Russia replaced some of its European markets with India, with Pakistan, and China. So this isn't nothing new. This is part of what's going on. That's not beneficial to the West at all. Also, Imran Khan refused to sanction Russia. And the other added little nugget of details is that Pakistan is a nuclear country, also with historically unstable relationships with India. And these are some of the images also that you can see. You can, have the volume up a little bit. Yeah, and this is what we're seeing in Pakistan, mostly in Islamabad, but there's a couple more videos.
دار بابو صاحب د اپس حال له پایرونار سوسو او د حال هغه من کم چې حال هغه ته وګوره چیرونار سلاړه ایف سکول مکمل برباد او تباہ شو دا ایف سکول حال له اوس ویني تاسو ولګو تاسو شروع دي لکه دار بابو صاحب د اپس حال له
So clearly a lot of people are upset, and it's understandable that they're upset because Imran Khan was, first of all, removed when he shouldn't have been removed, according to them. And he himself has said, and others have said, that this was, of course, has the US's fingerprints all over it. So Pakistanis don't want to go back to that. They don't want to go back to having a leader that is just not going to look out for Pakistan. They want this chance that they've had because, as Pasa mentioned, for the longest time, Pakistan was not run by a leader that they felt was true to the needs of Pakistan. They felt like it was run by leaders that sold out, right?
Western friendly
to the West
leaders. I mean, this is a country, first of all, we talk about India and Pakistan split by the colonizing West, the Brits, to make sure they're always divided against each other. I always thought that with whatever you feel about Narendra Modi or whatever you feel about Imran Khan, that these are two guys that weren't like the historic people or the traditional people who've run these countries, that with Modi being, I don't know, was he a candle salesman or a tea salesman, one or the other? Imran Khan being a cricket player, and that there might be a chance for some form of peace there. Obviously, the what do you call it area really fucking inflamed the whole situation. Fam, what do you call the region? Please help me out. I'm a little bit airheaded right now. Which they're complaining about that they split up. Jamie, do you know what it is?
Are you talking about Kashmir?
Thank you. Jesus Christmas. Kashmir, they have that issue with Kashmir, where they're kind of fencing off. But other than that, I thought maybe that they could see that they were two countries that have been divided because the West pitted against each other and say, hey, man, this is so stupid. But there is religious ties to this whole situation. Obviously, Pakistan has more Muslim base, where India has more of the Hindus. But India has Muslim people living there too as well. People have lived there for quite some time. But it is one of those situations that I thought that eventually they could get to some form of a peace agreement. I'm kind of curious of what the BRICS nations are going to feel about this happening, right? I'm pretty sure that even Narendra Modi and Putin and Xi Jinping have to be sitting there like, okay, Pakistan, that can be a proxy war. That can be a problem. If we don't let, the people's government prevail, the West will insert their own government, and that could spell problems for us in the future. So even with you talking about arch enemies like India, I'm sure that Modi is concerned with this move going on. I'm not saying that Modi's endorsed Imran Khan. And India is kind of that weird situation, right? India knows how to play both sides very well. You'll see, Narendra Modi sitting down talking with Putin and Xi Jinping in a BRICS meeting, and then a week later you'll see him at the G20, and Biden was given some type of instructions to make sure you go shake hands with Modi, and Modi will be shaking hands with Biden. He knows how to play the game geopolitically, but this has got to be concerning if they are going to insert their own puppet military government. You know what I'm saying? Because then they can use it as a leverage piece against India in the future, going, nah, you know what? You're with BRICS. So now you want to F around. Now you're going to find out, and using Pakistan as that thorn in the side. Also, the relationship between Pakistan and China. They want to put a bridge in there too, a wedge in there too, fam. So this has to be concerning to not just the West, but all the BRICS nations as well.
Yeah, I mean, so if BRICS is as strong as it's been going, right? If BRICS continues to grow the way it's been growing, Pakistan represents the opportunity for the West to still have a hold on the region. And like geographically as well as economically, they have been using Pakistan for a long time. But with India being part of BRICS, now you have that opportunity and that reemergence of relationship that we've been seeing with India and Pakistan. And they don't want that. The West does not want that. They don't need that because they can't lose another ally. They've been losing allies left and right to BRICS nations and to, just where the world is going. And I think Pakistan represents like a last stronghold that could happen. And what the people on the ground in Pakistan are saying is that the Pakistani army has declared war on Imran Khan and his party, the PTI, and that this is a full out like attempt to sell out Pakistan to the West versus the people fighting to keep Pakistan in the hands of Pakistan. And that is really what it seems like is at stake right now. And it makes sense considering where BRICS is going, considering where Pakistan is going in terms of buying Russian oil, in terms of having a relationship with China. And of course, if Pakistan did go to the dark side of the West, meaning the eastern side, if they went to the enemies of the West, then where does the West stand in terms of the rest of the world, in terms of India, in terms of China, Russia, and the Arab nations are also finding peace and cooperation and unity. That's also representing less control. Saudi Arabia potentially working with Russia and China, de-dollarization. So they're losing all of these allies, and China isn't going to let go of Taiwan. So it's kind of like this is the last one of the last strong allies they have, and it would make sense to want to have some sort of hold on the region so close to India. And you're right, India and Pakistan were divided over colonial powers, and so it makes total sense that they would be holding on to this. And I think this is a huge part of that.
These last two tweets were from the PTI. That is the party that Imran Khan was one of the first elected officials for, and they've had such a presence on Twitter right now. It's interesting. I hope that somebody's following the metrics of this and see if they're being censored or throttled. You know what I'm saying? I made a tweet the other day. Nothing has changed. If you tell the truth, you'll still be censored. I believe that. So I'm interested to see if the State Department or somebody has contacted Twitter and said, hey, man, can you make sure that these tweets don't get too boosted, or make sure you hide them or something, fam? This is why I'm saying that we needed to see the full situation, though we needed to see under the hood. The PTI has been very, very effective on Twitter. A lot of followings, getting their message out, always retweeted. That's why we were able to report on the big crowds that we saw in Pakistan, fam, since this is going on. So the PTI has put that out. The PTI first put out that the fact that they're shelling against their own citizens. It's a dark day. Release Imran Khan. This is the second one. It's time to change Pakistan, or else the future is dark. Pakistan must come out and defend their country now. So they're calling people to the streets, fam. It's go time in Pakistan. I sense that they wanted to get some type of charge against Imran Khan so he couldn't run again. And I don't know if they're trying to figure it out. The West
it's corruption,
them,
or
they're
like corruption charges based on bribery. These guys, literally, Pedro Castillo has those charges thrown at him. A bunch of Latin American leaders have them thrown at them when they want them out, when they don't want them to run. Cristina Kirchner as well. These are things that, and so remember Lula also had the same type of charge. So it's really interesting actually to see this develop too, with the way this is made, and the difference between that and you saw the rebellion in Peru as well. It just wasn't enough. I mean, the way Imran Khan is far more popular than Castillo was at the end of his time as president. But even so, people were going out in the streets, not for Castillo, but they were going out in the streets for their government. In Peru, the issue isn't the military. The military does what the Congress wants. The Congress is too powerful. In this case, the military and the current government have been pretty much in the control of the West. And so the people feel the PTI, that's why they're saying it's time to fight for Pakistan, because they feel like they have to fight for Pakistan before it gets completely swallowed up by, this sort of NATO-esque type of West.
I think that Peru will get there too as well. I think they're sleeping right now. They're a little calm.
Yeah.
But if nothing changes anytime soon in Peru, they're gonna do this. You can see this, and I'm very happy. This is Marissa Hanson, fam. She's a populist right election integrity activist in Texas that follows a lot of things, and I don't know where she's not really taking a position on it, but the fact that she did report on it, I'm very happy that she did do it. So I'm showing off Marissa today. Pakistan protesters are now arming themselves. An entire arms store was ransacked, and people took all the guns and bullets in response to the straight fire by security forces on protesters. The army has been deployed for full martial law. The internet has been shut down. Serious fighting has been reported with the army. I'm going to make it nice and big, fam. As they're pushing through this whole. Look at this here. Here they go, fam. Here they go. Fam, we do have one more clip here. Check this out. This is great, fam. You're going to love this one. Great job, too, my friend. This isn't Pakistan. This is London. They're kicking off at the arrest of the country's former prime minister, Imran Khan. Look at this. They know what's going on.
Yeah, these images aren't fake. How the hell could we be showing fake images? It's absolutely ridiculous. These images aren't fake. They're all over Pakistan and all over the media. That's like every major media outlet can't escape these images. Yeah, so anyway.
PTI workers are cowards. Only on social media. So straight Hugo is these are fake images and stuff. Internet is not shut down. Yeah. PTI aren't a revolutionary party. Really, that's why they've been on the streets just getting out there for Imran Khan like crazy, like never before. Straight Hugo, thumbs down.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I mean, anybody capping for the imperialist powers really at this point, I don't know what the point of that is. I mean, the reality is the Pakistani people are going to decide for themselves what they want. At the end of the day, any sort of intervention by the West is something I condemn. And it's something we've condemned here this whole time. that the United States has no say. And if this is proven to have ties to the U.S., that will come out. And if that is proven, once again, we'll add it to the list of coups and revolutions, color revolutions that the U.S. has orchestrated. And a lot of people are comparing this to the Maidan when, Ukraine came out and started, pushing this idea that they got rid of their democratically elected leader. Well, we know it was Victoria Nuland, State Department, senators, Jeffrey Pyatt coming in and putting in their puppet. Well, that of course led to the conflict we're in today. And so it's really important to watch these conflicts develop when they emerge, because they really can have drastic and strong consequences in the future.
Yeah.
This is something to watch for sure.
And Rag 2018, welcome to the show. As a Pakistani, I thank you very much for those compliments and us covering the situation. I was even kind of getting deeper into the election system because I was very curious to what's going on. And what me and Fiorella have witnessed before, and we're very cautious of it, and it was these biometrics machines. But what's very, very different when we go to international elections, especially in Latin America, is that the grassroots wants more checks and balances for people to vote, because they understand if you don't have checks and balances when people go to vote and you don't provide the extra securities, that's a way for the ruling class to create more votes, more ballots. In the United States, there's no way of kind of tracking anything for who goes votes because they mail out ballots and a stranger can hand it in. Literally, it could be mailed to somebody. They don't verify it got to that person. It could be turned in. They don't verify who turned it in. That's not the case. In Colombia, and in Honduras, they wanted these biometrics machines because they wanted to make sure that actually one person, one vote was going to be as close to as possible. Now, I'm not going to endorse those things because I know the dangers of that. I'll settle with just an ID and an assigned polling place, but they had all those things in place. At one point, I think they were going to remove those from the Pakistan elections, and Imran Khan spoke up about that. So it was interesting because I was following actually the methods of the voting in Pakistan, and that was something that they wanted. They were making sure the PTI was going in and giving themselves a good analysis of how the elections work, because they understood that they were the favorites to win. Imran Khan was the favorite to come back and win, and they didn't want the vote to get cheated. So it was very interesting when we were looking into that too as well. So anyways, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys so much for coming on over and hanging on out. You want to bring that next one up there, my friend? Is that the next topic? Hold on. Where are we at? Yeah, fam, right? We're doing the Russia stuff, the Ruski stuff.
Yeah, fam. And did you get that video I sent you?
No, I'm going to go grab it right now while Jamie brings it up the video and plays that video. Go ahead, Jamie. Bring it on up.
Okay.
You want to say anything about this, fam, before he plays it?
Yeah, so this is Vladimir Putin on Victory Day. So just as a refresher, Victory Day in Russia is pretty much like a sacred day. It's the celebration of the defeat of the Red Army over Nazis, okay? And in that war, Russia fought 4 years, from 1941 to 1945. And that was the Great Patriotic War. That is what that is known as in Russia. They lost millions and millions of people in the Soviet Union. Back then, the Soviet Union was comprised of several other states, including Ukraine. But again, it was all part of the Soviet Union. Now, this celebration usually calls in thousands and hundreds of thousands, even millions of people coming from all over the country to pay homage to the loss of life and what they sacrificed. And that the biggest part of the parade was canceled. And it was canceled because a few days before, Ukraine launched an attack on the Kremlin, and it hit parts of the Kremlin in Red Square. The primary focal point of this parade is in Red Square, and then it breaks off into a lot of other areas of Moscow. So they didn't want to have that many people there. They didn't really specify exactly, but they definitely said it was security concerns as to why there was that parts of that were canceled, parts of the fireworks were canceled. This is just letting you know. So when you see the images, you know that it should be a lot bigger than what it is. So in his speech that Putin gives every year on May 9th, he said a lot of things, but one of the things he said was that the West is controlled, that these global elites are at fault for what's happening right now. And he used the words global elites. So I want to have a listen to some of the things he said, and then we'll discuss.
Fam, I didn't get the video. It's not in the thing.
Huh?
The video's not in the email. But go ahead and play that, and we'll.
Okay.
Jamie. Go ahead, Jamie. Yeah, perfect. You got to put the volume on it, though.
Volume's not up.
That's weird. All right, hold on. Let's see. Hey, let me see if we can. Is there something with the volume now? Let me see if I'll check on my end to see if it's working. Maybe it's just weird. Let me see if it works for me. Yeah, fam, the video was not in the thing, but
I'm sending it right now, so don't worry.
I got the video here, guys. We're gonna play it for you right now. 2 seconds. I'm so sorry. That's it. Here we are.
Exclusivity. They provoke conflicts. They provoke bloody conflicts and coups. They sow seeds of hatred, Russophobia, and aggressive nationalism. They destroy traditional family values that make humans humans. They do all this to continue dictating and enforcing their will upon nations, their rules, which is essentially a system of pillage and suppression. They seem to have forgotten what the Nazis' crazy claims for world supremacy brought to. Who unleashed this total evil and who stood to defend their home, their motherland, and sacrificed their lives to defend and protect nations.
Fam, I think when you played it, the first part cut off. Can you just play the little bit?
The Western globalist elites still talk about their exclusivity.
Yeah.
They
Just that part was cut off when you said it. So, yeah, I think it's important to point out what Putin is saying there, because a lot of people heard that and they were like, well, he's not lying. And every time the guy opens his mouth, he says, a lot of truthful things. Now, this goes to show you, again, it's hard to say that Russia is on the same side as a bunch of the people that some of these people say they're on the same side of, because clearly at every turn they denounce it. They not only denounce it, but their actions in government tend to stay away from everything that the European liberal contingent wants. And it was important for Russia to show that they, in spite of all the attacks that have recently happened, on several journalists, on the Kremlin, that they were still this sort of unity among the Russian people, and that there's this celebration, and people go out in the streets and they wear their St. George's ribbon, and they are pretty much, they in support of that, even in Moscow, which tends to have the least support compared to the rest of Russia. And I say this because so many people try to say no, that Russians are forced and blah, blah, blah. I remind people Putin took Russia, and obviously it wasn't on his own, but Russia, what it was in the 90s compared to what it is today. If you watch old Russian movies, you will see the large difference. And I don't think people understand what I'm talking about. And it's hard to grasp that until you come to Russia, and then you really see like how it's so different than what we're told. And I went and I went yesterday and I was out for a lot of the day, but not all of the day because I knew a lot of events were canceled. So in the morning, I watched RT and my colleagues report, and they did a great job reporting. And then I went into town, and it was beautiful weather, like 58 degrees, you know. And here's some of what it looked like on that day yesterday. And this is near the art gallery, one of the most famous art galleries in Russia. This is the Moscow River, and this is over a bridge. Okay, this is what Russia looks like on a nice spring day. I don't think a lot of people have that image of Russia when they hear about Russia back home. I think people still have the image of bread lines, the image of gray, the image of people just working. And so that is why I'm making it my attempt to really post more stuff. It's hard to find the time because like today, this is my third show. I had 2 interviews before this. So it's kind of like difficult, but I'm trying to show as much as I can. When people tell you that the United States is the greatest country in the world, they were shampooing the streets again yesterday, the day before yesterday, in preparation for that. So again, I just wanted to show that. And also Putin's statement here. He made another statement, and he talked about he talked about a lot of things about the U.S. Hegemony, but he also talked about the hypocrisy of the West, particularly the idea of white supremacy and superiority. So this is what he said: any ideology of superiority is inherently disgusting, criminal, and deadly. This is the evil Putin saying that.
Идеология превосходства по своей природе отвратительна, преступна и смертоносна. Однако западные глобалистские элиты по-прежнему твердят о своей исключительности, стравливают людей и раскалывают общество, провоцируют кровавые конфликты и перевороты, сеют ненависть, русофобию, агрессивный национализм, уничтожают и семейные, традиционные ценности, которые делают человека человеком. И все для того, чтобы и дальше диктовать.
This is like repeating. So he pretty much, I wanted you to hear the first part of the statement because that was the same statement he made. But putting people against each other, talking about the global elites, Pasta could have said this statement. Pasta could have uttered these words. Yeah. So it's just kind of interesting to hear a president say that, especially in the time we're in right now. And who is he speaking to, right? Because I think a lot of Russians know this, but especially older Russians or Russians that are middle age or at least upper 30s or 40s. But I think a lot of the young people, again, I go back to they forget that this is not what Russia looked like but before. This is not where Russia was. And so I think it's important to hear this to the Western audience because you guys don't get to hear like constant talk in Russia. You guys don't get to listen to what's going on in Russia. My good friend Dan Kovalik was here. He went to Crimea. He constantly posts pictures and stuff. He makes friends with Russians. It's really nice the way you're welcomed here when you're an American. I've never felt not welcomed by Russians.
Dan, hopefully maybe in is it July in Nicaragua, fam?
Hopefully. I know you're for sure set to go, but
1,000% sure that I will be in fucking Nicaragua come July. You best believe that.
It's a short flight for you, not much for me. So,
well, do some planning now, and it's July.
Yeah.
Bring your bathing suit. Let's go. We'll spend a little extra time there. So, and I heard you can bring Russians there too, fam. So, bring some friends.
Oh, can I?
Bring friends. Fam, one of the greatest press secretaries of all time, right? Spoke.
Sugar Bear, otherwise known as Miss Karine Jean-Pierre. So I just think I don't even know what to say about this, to be honest, because this is what we were taught. I gotta say, this is what I was taught. There was no mention of Russia when I was taught about the defeat of Nazis until I was in high school. That they vaguely, and I took like European history, and they vaguely mentioned the Soviet Union and the Red Army and how many people they lost. But it wasn't until I had a great teacher in AP, like world history or European history, one of those, that it was even mentioned that the Soviet Union was involved. My whole life, I grew up thinking that the United States saved the world.
Yeah.
They literally liberated. They went in and they liberated the Jewish people from these concentration camps, and they defeated Hitler. And if it wasn't for the U.S., then we wouldn't, Nazis would have taken over. It was actually not the U.S. The U.S. came in really late, and literally it was like the guy that comes in late to a group project and says two things and then like copies what somebody else said, and then you all get an A, and then the guy's like, yeah, see what I did there? Like it's literally that's how it happened. That's like the best analogy I can think of.
United States lost 1 million men. Russia lost up to 40 million, they said, some stats, and they were on the front lines for quite some time. So yeah, it's crazy.
And it's not to diminish any life lost, because war is ugly and war is terrible, and lots of people who came from the United States and fought in World War II fought with that vigor of knowing that they were defeating actual Nazis. Like they knew, and they should be commended. I'm not saying they shouldn't, because that was an actual war where it's like, okay, you're actually fighting a fascist ideology. The problem is the United States helped supply those weapons to Germany. And then of course, and then they helped a lot of these Nazis when they came into the United States. And then of course, many of them ended up in NATO. So that's the problem I have with that whole scenario. Right. But
I believe the United States helped fund the Russians too, in some ways too. They funded both sides, from what I remember. They sold a bunch of tanks to the Russians, I think. They were funding every single side. It was almost like a serious situation. And then they jumped in at the very end, like we said. But let's play.
It's also seeing who's going to win, right? Yeah. Deciding who's going to be the victor, that sort of thing. Waiting out to see.
We're going to back the Nazis. Let's take a look and see what you got to say. My fave.
This week marks, as you all know, the anniversary of the end of World War II in Europe and the victory of the United States and Allied forces over fascism and aggression on the continent. This week marks, as you all know, the anniversary of...
Yeah, fam. No mention of Russia. No mentions of Russia. Look at that. She's so funny.
So, Pasta, when I was watching the parade, it wasn't, obviously we're not on YouTube, so we had to finagle ways to watch it on Rumble, but we clicked on Al Jazeera and how they were covering the parade, and I had to change that because it was like Russia is using the May 9th parade to show their aggression against Ukraine, and that literally was all they were saying, like the Russians and Putin haven't stopped their aggression. And it's like literally these people are celebrating the dead, which, by the way, it's 100 years since the time some of these people have been born. So some of these people are like 100 years old. Like they were like 22, 20, they're old. Okay. At the time of the wars, like they were born in the 1920s. So they were like in their 20s or less when the war broke out. And now they're like extremely old and they're there in attendance. Right. And so it's like, it's crazy just hearing like the way the reporting was done differently um, compared to what RT was doing. So yeah, it was really interesting. I didn't watch CNN or MSNBC. I don't even know if they even showed it, but here I am.
Who's this? Who's this?
This is me.
Who's that? Let's play a little clip, guys.
I was just being silly. You can't hear me.
Yeah, why not?
I don't know, Pasta. Is it the video?
It's the video.
What's
You
the
don't
video
have a
has
shotgun
audio?
mic on your thing?
No, the video has audio. It
Yeah,
has audio.
I can hear your audio, but
You can hear the audio?
I can.
Well, I can't hear it.
Can you hear it, Jamie?
When I play the video on my phone, it's really loud.
Wow. I don't know why I have the volume all the way up over here. That's weird. I think I'm having
It's
problems
okay.
with playing volume from videos on the StreamYard. I have to figure that out. If it was in a tweet, I can probably play it, or it was in YouTube and stuff.
So I'm gonna release this little clip a little bit later. So you can just play it so people can see. Basically, I was saying I was at Red Square. I was at Red Square, near Red Square. See, Red Square is beyond the gates where there's bars. That's where Red Square is. It's closed off. But this is where people came to celebrate. These are all the people. And then everybody was there. And I said, there's a lot of people. It's not as much as what there usually is, but there's a lot of people still coming out to celebrate. Not as nearly as much as what it normally is, but yeah, and for obvious reasons. And so yeah, I just did a little thing there, like where I was talking. And I think it's important to show, just because I'm there, I'm here, and I want you guys to see what I'm seeing. And yeah, and I have some other pictures I want to show about Putin. Well, not Putin, about Russia and Moscow and May 9th, and some of some of the pictures I saw briefly. I'm gonna add more to that video so you guys can see it. I'll post it on Twitter for you guys. But yeah, it's a really big deal for Russians. Like I said, some people see it as an act of aggression because they did display their military tanks at the end. So that's, you can see 9th of May. It's MAY, Maya. Maya is May. The R is YA, so it's Maya. And these are a bunch of Soviets, original Soviet communists from back in the day, and they were doing some singing and commemoration to those who went before. And I have some footage of that was filmed. There was the RT platform there in front of Red Square, in front of the Kremlin. And it was a very beautiful day. So this is what I want to show. So this is the Kremlin, right? This is the Kremlin. I'm on a bridge here. This is the Kremlin. To the left is where they were droned. So a few weeks ago when I went and I saw the Kremlin, I think I even shared a picture, you'll see the Kremlin. It looks normal. It's being reconstructed because of the drone attack. So in case anybody thought like that it was fake, or like that there wasn't a real drone attack, no, it's there. Like, that's the reconstruction that's happening at the Kremlin. And you can see also more of the Moscow River from up here, and the Kremlin as well over there. So yeah, and this is at night. This is a picture from the fireworks display. They didn't display the fireworks in the Red Square, but they did display the fireworks further away. So so I thought this firework display was huge. And I said, this is huge compared to what we have in the United States. And they were like, no, this is really small. It's usually like 10,000 times bigger. And I'm like, really? Okay. Because this is like, in the US, it's not like that. Like, it's not as big. Even on 4th of July, I don't remember it being this big. And I'll show you, because to me, this was huge. But they did cancel a lot of them. So this is right on the Moscow River. You can see the fireworks being unleashed, and they have these fountains and these lights and all of that. So Yeah, there's more pictures. So these are the professional ones from, I believe, the Russian government that put these out. I believe these are some of the photos they took. TASS from TASS. Yeah, they were able to see all of it because I wasn't in a position to see all of it. So this is considered small by the Russians. To me, this is freaking huge. So I was like, these are the official TASS pictures. So yeah, that was last night at around 10 o'clock or so. And yeah, it was really interesting. Usually, like I said, there's a lot more people in the streets, a lot more going on, but it seems like people themselves were hesitant. Many people stayed home. It's an attack on Red Square isn't to be taken lightly here. It's literally here in Moscow. So, but in spite of that, people still, went out.
Nice, fam. Nice, fun time. So let's get to the last subject of the day because it's been a long day for both of us.
It has.
And I thought we were just doing one topic until no. Fam has to throw this in here. Come on, fam. Go right ahead. Start.
You're so rude. Okay, so I want to bring up what Robert Kennedy said about the CIA because Pasta doesn't think it's that big of a deal. And to me, the thing I pose is if this was Marianne Williamson saying this, or Joe Biden, or anybody else, any liberal saying this, people would have a different reaction. But because it's Kennedy, now again, the Children's Defense Network, what he did on COVID, I'm glad he's running. It really puts out different conversations out in the forefront. Do I think he's going to win? No. Do I think he's going to endorse Biden? Yes. Do I think that matters? Yes, because it matters not in terms of who his voters are going to vote for, as I know you're going to say, Pasta, but in terms of the fact that you what's the point of really not going full on and challenging, right? I'm saying these things of the CIA. The first thing that comes to mind is who's advising you? Why are you putting this out there? You should just not put this out there. If I'm like advising him and be like, what are you doing? This is one of two tweets that I think are harmful to his run because you have a bunch of Trump supporters that are supporting you, right? Previous Trump supporters, people that are COVID aware, a lot of independents, a lot of these truther groups, sort of people, and they're all supporting him. And then you say something like the CIA, and even some leftists are supporting him, right? Like Max and all these other people. So it's kind of like, to me, it's like this isn't a good look. So he said the majority of people working at the CIA are good, patriotic people committed to their missions and the law. My own daughter-in-law was a field agent, and she is among the bravest people I have known. Now, my problem with this is it's not true. You're whitewashing what the CIA is, what they've done, even if people go into it with good intentions, which is maybe the thing you think he could be trying to say. It's kind of like you're whitewashing what they are. He knows. He's talked about the CIA being to blame for the murder of his family. He's said this before, which is why it doesn't make sense as to why he is saying this, except to sort of give that whole, I'm a civil American. I want some civil thing. And this is what we're going to do. I just don't think that works as much anymore. I just don't even think, aside from the fact that I think you shouldn't give credence to CIA, I don't even think it's a good strategy to go that route, to go that route of like Donald Trump won for a reason, or in 2016, like he got so popular because he didn't mince his words. And I feel like if you're going to mince your words, well, the liberals are going to do that much better than you are. So I don't know.
Okay. Let me take a stab at this. I don't like the comment either, right? And who advising him needs to get on this case. The way this should have been said was, I am sure there are some good people who work for the CIA. However, we understand what the CIA is and what they're about. And unfortunately, I think there needs to be some reform over there, right? He can't say it needs to be abolished in 1,000 pieces because
why?
his uncle said that. and his uncle's not here. His uncle's got a bullet through his head. His father said
Okay.
that, and his father's not here. His father's got a bullet in his head. I spoke to somebody yesterday, and they said that, whoa, they better Robert F. Kennedy better watch what he's saying. He's getting very close to what his uncle and his father said, and they're no longer here. So there is a reason why he has to act in a certain way. And I think that is not going to excuse the comment because, like I said, I would have said it the other way. Secondly, I think that like him and like people like Tulsi and like a lot of people who take these jobs, they really do believe in the bullshit marketing. They really do believe. I'm talking about the foot soldiers and the lower level people, the people like his daughter-in-law. They really do believe that they're fighting for democracy and bullshit and yada, 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 yada. We do not, right? I understand that. I understand that and I think people who take this job, they shouldn't believe the marketing, that at the end of the day, they should realize who they are working for. Ruling class, global elitists who are fucking shaping up and carving up the world in the way they see it, using vessels like the CIA to do so. So,
yeah.
Once again, I don't like the comment, whatnot, but it's not one of those things where I'm going to throw out the baby with the bathwater. And like I said, remember what his uncle said and his father said, and they're no longer here.
Okay, but if
head on.
But if Marianne Williamson said this, wouldn't you be going after her for saying something that's majority of the people?
That's a straw man argument in my mind.
No, it's not.
It's
really
not. A straw man. She didn't have her father and her uncle killed for taking on the CIA. This guy had his father and his uncle killed for taking on the CIA. The main reason he was killed is because he said he's going to crush the CIA into 1,000.
Okay. So does that mean that
Marianne Williamson has all these other pieces of luggage, baggage, and whatnot? She's not even a serious candidate as far as I'm concerned. She's a recruitment of those people that we're not going to talk about. You know what I'm saying? But I was playing a video of Marianne Williamson this morning with Courtney Banks. And she's god awful on foreign policy. She doesn't have the positive parts that Robert F. Kennedy has. Good.
Yeah, but I feel like a lot of people, including you, are dismissing what's wrong with the statement, the gravity of it, just because his father was precisely because your father and your uncle were murdered by the CIA. You don't give credence to it, which is exactly what this statement is doing. And by the way, his daughter-in-law is also left the CIA, but she wrote a very nice review of it. She was in John Kiriakou, because a lot of people throw at me, oh, what about Ray McGovern and John Kiriakou? Yeah, those are whistleblowers, and it's still, but they're whistleblowers.
Did you ask John Kiriakou where he stands with RFK?
He's a fan of RFK.
Okay.
Yeah. So what does that have to do with anything? What does that have to do with anything? My whole point is that when you are giving credence to that, you're contradicting yourself by saying everything he said about the CIA, he's contradicting himself. And at the end of the day, I don't believe in having a candidate that's not going to go out guns a-blazing, because that's what is needed at this moment. That's what it's needed at this time. I just don't okay, his father and his uncle were killed. Okay, so if something happens to him, don't you think that would be pretty freaking obvious, Pasta? It's just kind of you can't be afraid of that. You have to make a decision.
He still won't be
to
here.
What you're running.
And he's also talking.
I think that's an excuse. So is afraid of getting killed, so they're not going to say this stuff. It's just kind of well, then what's
he's
then
an actual
really? Why are you running for office if you live in the country? Why? Hold on. Why are you running for office if you're going to live in a country that you're afraid that could literally kill you? Then why are you running for office? What's the point of running for office if you live in a fascist state like that? Then it's just kind of I don't understand then. If it's either that bad or it isn't. If it's that bad, then maybe you shouldn't be running for office as under the Democratic Party, by the way, which is going to get all of the information of all his voters that have to register as Democrats.
It's not going to do anything.
It absolutely makes a difference.
All his voters, when they're done with him,
when
he does not get the nomination, they're going to go to Trump. The majority of them. It doesn't make a difference. They got all your information anyways right now.
So when they do rig the election again, you're not going to say, oh, they got this information from the DNC. All of that goes out the window. That's what they did to Sanders. That's literally what the
Sanders
information
turned
they
around
used.
and endorsed heavily, went promoting with all these people, went on the road.
When
with
Robert
them.
F. Kennedy endorses Biden, we can bookmark this video and you can come and tell me otherwise when that happens.
Big difference, because the people who voted for Bernie Sanders were going to
That's
vote.
that's not a big difference.
We're going to vote for Hillary Clinton, and the majority of the people that are going to vote for Robert F. Kennedy when he does not win the nomination, and they will cheat him. And once again, it's about changing the talking points. This is the point of him running, of having the conversations that we would no longer have, of being able to corner people like the Democrats. And he said that they've ruined this party that my father my uncle worked so hard to create, and that's why he's running in that party and that plan, whatnot. But let's get to your other comment that you had up over here that you weren't crazy about.
I don't understand. Like, if this was anybody else, you wouldn't justify them running as a Democrat.
Isn't anybody else? He's Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Yeah,
who happens to be
exactly.
the son of RFK, who happens to be the nephew of JFK, both killed by the CIA.
He's an elite. He's an elite. After all, he's an elite with people in his family.
He's also going to bring talking points to the table that would never ever be brought to the table if it wasn't for him. So I'm happy for that. I'm not expecting him to win the nomination. I know they're going to cheat him, but what we're going to be talking about and changing the conversation, that's what's important. And if we were willing to give a pass to Bernie Sanders despite his foreign policy blunders, then why wouldn't we be able to give a pass to RFK, understanding the game this time, knowing that it's different, but it's important to inject those conversations to the discussion that will not be had Robert F. Kennedy Jr. not been in this race. We should be more mad at those other people who we expected from the squad and Bernie to step up and have.
I'm not mad at them.
But those guys can't even pardon Julian Assange or say that stuff.
Who said I'm not mad? I'm not mad at them. This is a whole other level because of Bernie that I'm like this, because it's like, well, here we go again. We're bringing people back into the Democratic Party. Yeah, they might not vote for Biden, but at the end of the day, that information, all of that is still going to be there. You're shifting people back to one party because of it's the Democratic Party.
He'll expose the negativities of the Democratic Party more than bringing people into it. I will guarantee that. Right now, he will highlight the issues of the Democratic Party because he's running in that primary more than he will bring people into that party. And I will guarantee that right now. Guarantee that. And I'll show you with the tweets coming up. So let's go over this one.
Okay, so he said, just to quell any speculation, under no circumstances will I join Donald Trump on an electoral ticket. Our positions on certain fundamental issues, our approaches to governance, and our philosophies of leadership could not be further apart. He is a Democrat through and through. He is not a nonpartisan guy. Again, I go back to him having voted for Clinton several times, not just once. Okay, supporting them several times. If this was somebody else that didn't have the COVID stamp on them and the work he has done with COVID, a lot of the same people defending him right now would be holding him to account and saying, you're running as a Democrat. Why are you running as a Democrat? Why are you going to endorse the two-party system, the two-party uniparty oligarchy? And they would hold him to account. But because of the COVID situation and because of the things he has done, which are wonderful things on that regard, they're excusing all of this and completely dismissing it as a non-issue when it really would be an issue if he were to be president. And I don't think he's going to be. And I do think that it's good that he's running. But I do think that this whole, like, he's basically saying he has been asked on multiple shows if he will endorse Joe Biden, and he hasn't said he wouldn't. So,
you know what really sucks about what the Democrats did over the last couple of years is that they've used certain sayings that now if I try to use them, I'll feel like a donkey for using them. Like, don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. Like, I want to say that now with RFK, but they used it for Hillary Clinton. They're like, what good? What? There is no freaking good over here with this woman whatsoever. And I kind of feel that way. That phrase kind of fits what RFK is about. Dude, the dude russiagated, fam. The dude russiagated RFK. I mean, come on. It's like, I can't wait to get a microphone in front of him and ask him what his stances are on that right now too as well. Because I'm hoping he's evolved in certain situations. But I mean, there's a lot of things I don't like about him, but there are so many other things about him, and not just when it comes to the COVID situation. It's his willingness to point out and take on big pharma, which is really important. And every single progressive out there knows that their number one enemy, no matter what, happened to be the pharmaceutical company. There was a fight for Medicare for all, and we understood that the person in the way, the hurdle in the way, was big pharma. Well, take a look at this over here, fam, and I want you to take a look at this on this show when he talks about what he points out about mass shootings. Now, I'd like them to go even further and say maybe the FBI has something to do with it. And I don't know if he's there yet, but just listen to this statement, fam, right here. Let me get this right here. So sorry. His picture's up. Listen to the statement and what he's pointing out when it comes to the big pharmaceutical companies. This is something that we don't talk about enough. It's not talked about in the mainstream. Remember when I always talk about the whole fentanyl problem, fam? And what are we saying? Oh, they're blaming China. They're blaming the cartels. They literally are floating bills, fam, in which they can take their Marines, they can take their Navy SEALs, they can take their special forces, fly them over the border in Mexico, crash somebody's house, go in there, take somebody's suspect, United States military, without the permission of Mexico. They're doing that because they're using fentanyl as the excuse. Well, who turned all our citizens into addicts in the first place? You know it. I know it. This is big pharma. This is the Sackler family who had to pay billions of dollars in fines for doing what they're doing. Yet they made so much money. Nobody is talking about the main thing here, which is the pharmaceutical companies making our children dependent on Adderall and all these other drugs. Yes, there can be needs for them. We have a person who watches the show who needs to take opioids because she gets migraines all the time. And there are situations where it's necessary. But they just thrusted pharmaceuticals on our children. They've turned our kids into freaking goddamn schizos. And listen to what RFK is pointing out right here in this clip.
The same is true, Mark, with all these shootings. You know, nobody is looking at the pharmaceutical contribution to that. That the anecdotally, it appears that almost every one of these shooters were on SRIs or some other psychiatric drug. And this is only happening in America, where all these people are taking these psychiatric drugs. We take 4 times as many as any other country in the world, average European country.
Yep.
And there's no time in history. I mean, we've always had guns in this country. Switzerland has more guns per capita than we do, and you don't see that happening there. And I'm not defending all the guns everywhere, but I'm just saying something happened prior to the introduction of Prozac. Those shootings just were almost unknown, and now they're an everyday affair. But NIH will not study that because it will offend the pharmaceutical industry, and it's something that we ought to be studying.
Fam, I can't talk about how important it is that we have this conversation that nobody is talking about. Nobody is talking about. I mean, I think it even goes deeper because I know that on the other side of the screen, when they have the keys to the kingdom, the FBI and the CIA can see who's really, really thwarted, really, really messed up. And then they don't even have to MK Ultra them now. They just got to give them a little push because they're almost radicalized because they're so unstable and nobody's looking at the pharmaceutical companies and what they're doing. How can we not say that a conversation like this is not uber important?
Who's saying that a conversation isn't important?
But he's getting the attention because he is running for president.
He's had the attention.
Not like this. Not like this now. No way. It's hyped up. It's lifted up. He's filling up rooms now. He had attention from only the COVIDians. Now he's getting attention all around. Now that people are starting to look at him. This is why I'm probably not going to vote for him, fam. I'm probably going to vote third party.
Oh, he went from I'm not going to vote for him to I'm probably not going to vote.
They're probably not going to vote for him.
You see, it's so easy to get the American public to just fall back in line with these little manipulations. It's just so easy. Do you think
probably
for a
going to vote
second,
third party? But I am supporting the campaign because I think it's important that he run because he's bringing important conversations to the table, and that's
he's bringing important conversations to the table. However, that doesn't mean that I think it's naive to think that Sanders had a bunch of CIA establishment operatives in his campaign, and to think that Kennedy isn't going to have that. That is extremely naive, and it's already clear that that's happening and it is going to happen. And maybe it was from the start. We'll see. But it's not cynicism. It's the reality. Because people are going to say that's cynical. No, it's the reality. The United States does not have fair elections. The United States is a country that, even if Kennedy were to get the more popular vote, and I think Kennedy is a candidate that, in spite of his weaknesses, he could get more in a fair system. He could win in a fair system if people actually came out and voted and their votes were counted. I think he could win. I do. And he would be far better than any of the other candidates, that left or right, Democrat or Republican, that are out there right now. I will say that. But does that mean that is genuine, that that's going to happen? No, I don't think it's going to happen. I do think there's a lot of weirdness about his whole campaign, who he's putting in there. Yeah. It's
Fam, did I ever tell you that I'm a civil liberties guy?
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
have,
Fam.
because,
Yeah.
Kennedy put this up today, the restoring of the civil liberties, restore our rights. And this is a tweet that was made earlier today, yesterday, I believe it was. And I was like, let's go. Me being a civil liberties guy, our administration will make it a top priority to protect and restore fundamental civil liberties enshrined in the Bill of Rights that holds essence of what America can be. These liberties have endured constant assault for over 20 years, starting with the Bush-Cheney war on terror and accelerating the era of the COVID lockdowns. Freedom of speech is at the capstone of all the other rights and freedoms. Once a government has the power to silence its opponents, no other right is safe. We will therefore dismantle the censorship industrial complex, fam. Listen to those words, in which big tech censors, deplatforms, shadow bans, and algorithmically suppresses any person or opinion the government asks them to. Fam, he's going to go fight for the convo couch and say, you're not allowed to shadow ban them. You're not allowed to censor them. You're not allowed to put them in a hole. Look where we're at right now. I'm so thankful that you got that job at RT and stuff and everything. But what we're witnessing at the convo couch is ridiculous. We've been witnessing it for 3 years now, when we've been demonetized, when we've been censored, our Twitter's taken down. Your Twitter was shadow banned for God knows how fucking long. It was ridiculous. This is wrong. This guy witnessed this firsthand. It happened to him during the COVID lockdown period. So he had his extensive knowledge and a way to attack this, and better than anybody could. And he's going to be great at this. Remember, we also witnessed him at the speech, fam, in D.C. when we both said that was a really good speech, fam. You know what I'm saying? And what he was talking about is important. Restoring our civil liberties, restoring press freedoms. I mean, there's no other candidate out there who's talking like this. I don't even hear candidates say the word civil liberties.
Yeah, no, there's no candidate that's talking about it, but
look at the crowd.
It's important that he's running.
Look at the crowd. It's happening.
It's important that he's running. Yeah, Pasta, we've been here before. It was a different moment. People were worried about different things. They weren't worried about COVID. Bernie said some fire things. So have other candidates. So did Tulsi. We've been here before. People get carried away by what people say. Just continue watching what he does. And then we'll see. And the people that are getting involved in his campaign, continue watching that. That's all you can do to not let yourself get carried away by this idea that somebody's going to save you. I feel like if people were supporting Kennedy for the issues, I think a lot of people are supporting him because they want a hero, and they've made him a hero. And it seems like America is stuck in that whole need of every 4 years picking a hero instead of actually finding ways to go outside the system. And again, this is just another way for people to be back into the system. I'm not saying I think he is the best candidate out of all of them, but that doesn't mean that there aren't glaring issues that I have as well.
Fam, I don't know if you know friend of the show. Have you heard of him before? Johnny Tsunami made a tweet over here. It was kind of RFK. Instead of championing free speech, the U.S. actively persecutes journalists and whistleblowers. All pardon brave truth tellers like Julian Assange and investigate the
like this
corruption
tweet, and I retweeted
and crimes they exposed. This isn't the Soviet Union. I knew you. See, once again, I hate that shit too as well. That's why I don't listen. When he goes, Putin's a thug, a bully, a gangster, I hate that shit. That's another world leader. Like, if you're going to fucking sit here and tell me you got to play the game with the bullshit in the United States, you better be able to play the game foreign policy wise. That's the guy you got to talk to. You say that shit, you're hurting relations. So cut it out. The America I love doesn't imprison, yada, 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 yada. And our good friend Johnny Tsunami, look how good he looks, fam, with those glasses. Wow. RFK Jr. comes out and clearly tells you that he will pardon Julian Assange. Remember when Bernie was asked that question?
Bernie man. Hey, do it. Do you support Julian Assange?
Do I support Julian Assange?
Will you pardon him?
I can't say just it's a long
Please, sir, please.
Where are the issue?
Will you pardon him? Commute a sentence, please.
Yeah. And the Soviet Union comment, though.
No, I know it sucks. I agree, man.
Yeah. So, okay. So let me put it to you this way.
Through the thug, that I hate that shit. I hate it.
But again,
so many things this guy did that I cannot stand.
That manufacturers consent for more, and some people have a shit line. That's their shit line, you know. And Israel Palestine, that's a shit line for me.
I get.
You're going to be supporting Zionists.
I get it. I get it.
So
I get it.
I get it. If you can put those aside, that's good for you. Some of us can't.
That's why I said I don't think I will vote for him. But I'm not going to get if the man wants to try to convince me in a room and he wants to do something for elections, maybe I don't know, but I doubt I will. I honestly believe that we need to get to a third party, and that's why I'm supporting a third party. But the way this Libertarian Party is acting, fam, oh my God. So if you're not crazy about everything, I know you're not crazy about everything RFK says, but these are the statements he makes that merits a second look. Of the 319 million Bill Gates gave to media outlets by November 2021, NPR received 24 million. PBS got at least 4 million in those returns. And those public interest broadcasters aired flattering reports about Gates' corrupt self-dealing and profiteering on his global vaccine projects. I want to mention that out of the gate, RFK was on top of Bill Gates' nuts. He showed the receipts out of the gate. Him and Dr. David Martin were some of the best at this out of the gate when it was not popular, when Bill Gates controlled the media, along with all his other cronies and big tech. RFK was there out the gate pointing this out. So it's not just about the COVID stuff. It's also pointing out the pharmaceutical issues, which he talked about, the mass shootings. And those are the things that make me say, okay, I understand what he's doing here. I like what he's bringing to the table. I'm down for that. He did also have some people are saying today, I think, or was it yesterday, General Douglas MacArthur. He had an amazing podcast, they said, and they talked about the whole Ukraine situation. So I'm eager to hear that as well, because what do you get from these other donkeys? What do you get from the Marianne Williamsons and the Joe Bidens? You get nothing. You get crap. You don't even get anything. I mean, you get some halfway decent shit from Trump, halfway decent, but now I'm being prosecuted because they don't want me to run for president. Oh, and by the way,
China.
You get very little over there. So the fact that these conversations are coming to the forefront, that is why I am happy with RFK running, to be honest with you.
It's good that he's running. I think people have way too many.
We lost your fam. You there? You hit mute. You're muted.
It muted me.
Yeah.
My earpiece died.
I don't mute you. Not me. I never do. I never.
Okay, I think people have seriously rose-colored glasses about what is happening in that campaign. But we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening. So I'll let you all have your fun. But I am going to point out glaring issues. He shouldn't be saying that stuff about the CIA, and he's alienating some of the people that vote for Trump that like him. If you read the comments. Not a good strategy. Not even because I like Trump, but it's just not a good strategy.
Fam, let's lead some super rays. A-Rem says, thank you for your important work. Thank you, A-Rem. You are a hell of a guy. Thank you to the 114 people watching over on the YouTubes. I mean, YouTube is really fucking censoring us lately. I mean, I don't know. I can't grasp it. I mean, we'll have a show. We had Mark Sloboda on. we had close to 500, 600 people watching, close to 700 it got at one point. And then we do another show, and like Ahmed Cabello, which I thought was great, kicked down to almost nothing. It's weird. It seems like they keep hitting the throttle on and off. A lot of people are saying they're not getting our bells, our notifications, and that sucks. So we need your help by sharing and getting the news information out there. What do you got coming up, fam? Anything new and interesting?
No, I'm just going to work on releasing that video and showing you guys more about what I saw yesterday. So
definitely. And we got the Mandela video you got up there too as well. Guys, go check it out. It's on Rockfin. It's on Rumble. It's on YouTube. Is it on YouTube? The Mandela video from today, fam?
The what?
The Mandela video from today's on YouTube too as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's up there, guys. I don't see it.
Yeah, I didn't. It was very suppressed. So, but it was very good.
Oh, it's up there. If you just click on the live, guys, we did it live. It's up there. So go check it out, please.
I did it really early because of his time, and yeah.
In the park right by where we were staying in Cuba, there was that kind of like historical park, and it was like showing homage to other leaders from other countries. That's why Yasser Arafat was around the corner, and we got that picture with me and Yasser. But I also took a picture of the Mandela statue, fam. I should share it with you because it was there. It was a Mandela statue, and I got a picture of it.
You should share it with me, fam.
I will do that. So that's it for today, guys. Tomorrow I have the morning show, then Shan the Master. We'll be back on Friday, fam. That's it for today. My name is Pasta Jardula.
And I'm Fiorella.
And we'll see you soon.
Come up.